Everyone, in this tutorial we will discuss on Python pandas. So in this tutorial we will understand what is pandas and what are the basic data structures that are available in pandas and why learning pandas is very important in today's era. Pandas is the most popular Python library that is used for data analysis. So this point has to be noted that it is one of the most popular Python library that is used for data analysis. It provides highly optimized performance with backend source code is purely written in C or Python. So this point has to be understood, like why Python pandas is one of the most popular Python library. The reason behind is the performance. So the performance of this library is very much optimized and very much good. So this is the reason why pandas is one of the most popular Python library. Pandas is a high-level data manipulation tool developed by Wes McKinney. So this has to be noted, who is the developer of Pandas. So Pandas has been developed by Wes McKinney. It is built on the NumPy package and its key data structure is called the data frame. So this is to be understood like the Pandas is built on top of the NumPy package. So this is Wes McKinney, who is the developer of Python Pandas. We can analyze data in Pandas with series, data frame and panel. So in order to analyze data, these are some of the methods or these are some of the functions which are available in pandas. Since all these are associated with an object, we will refer these as methods. So these are the methods which are available through which we can analyze data. So in this series we will discuss primarily on series and data frame. Series is a one-dimensional labeled array capable of holding data of any type. So it is capable of holding data of any type, either it can be integer, string, float, Python objects or etc. All those access which are being labeled are basically called the index values, which we have already learned in list on NumPy array. So a Pandas series can be created using the following constructor, that is pandas.series, and it accepts the following parameters like the data, index, the data type and the copy. Like if we want to create a copies or if we don't want to create a copy, so we will just set the value to be as false, and the data is basically the data that we put in the series, and the index, so if we want to manipulate the index values or index name, so in that case we will specify the indexes, and the data type, if we want to manipulate the data type as well, we will set the data type. By default it is int64 for integer data types. So understanding about series, pandas.series, as I said, accepts these four parameters. So these four parameters can be explained as follows. Data takes various forms like n-dimensional array, list or constants. Index, as I said, are those index values that are required by pandas. And data type are basically those data type which sets the value of that particular panda series. A data in Panda can be a scalar value, a Python dictionary, or n-dimensional array. So when we are talking about data, this is the first parameter that we will pass in Panda series. So that first parameter can be a scalar value or Python dictionary or n-dimensional array. So let's get started with an example. This is the very first example which explains how we can use pandas. So first we need to import pandas and we need to give a alias name. So this is the alias name that we will give. Import pandas as pd. So this is the variable name which stores values from 1 to 6 list data. It is a list, since it is a list data type, so the variable name is given as list data. So it stores values from 1 to 6. So what it does in the line 5 is, in the series 1 variable or in the series 1 object, it stores the data in series, that panda series that we have discussed here. Like this is the initial thing what it does. It gets the data and it stores the entire list data in Pandas-Series. So this is the data that we are passing here. So let's run this code and understand it better. So as you can see, as soon as I execute the code, the values gets printed. So in the list we have stored values from 1 to 6, so the values from 1 to 6 gets printed with the corresponding index values. So since we have not manipulated the data and manipulated the index values, therefore the index values gets printed as per as the chronology. So 0 1 2 3 4 5. So since we know that the index value starts from 0 in Python, that's why the index values gets printed from 0 to 5. So this was all about the first example that we've learned, a very basic example which shows that how we can store list values in Pandas-Series. The next example that we will learn is how to manipulate the index numbers, or how to change the index values. Rather, in a better way, I can say that what is the second parameter, what is the significance of second parameter, that is index, and how we can manipulate the index of Python Pandas-Series. Supposingly we have list data and it stores values like 40, 30, 45, 33, and we don't have any idea like what 40 means and what 30 means and what 45 and what 33 means. Let's say if I say 40, 30, 45 and 33 are the marks of students, but this data is still this data contains ambiguity, as we don't know that who are the students who have received these marks or who got these marks. So in order to map the name of the students along with the corresponding marks, what we can do is we can store the names in a list named student name, and we can store those values in a list like Vivek, Mohit, Appu and Pranjit. These are the students who got these marks. So later on in Pandas-Series, what we can do is the first parameter which we will pass is the list itself, and the second parameter that we will pass is the index. This is the index, like the index name. So what it will do, it will map Vivek with 40, Mohit with 30, Appu with 45, Pranjit with 33. So this way we can use series in order to map the values with their index values. So by default, as we know that the index values starts from 0 to n-1. So if we want to change the name of the values of the index, we can do that in Pandas by passing the second parameter, that is index. So let's execute this code. Okay, so as we can see in the first column, all those index name has been manipulated and the name has been mapped with the corresponding marks of the students, and we can as we can see that the data type which gets printed is in64 by default. I hope this is clear, so we can proceed further. In the next example, we can see that we can also use dictionary data in Pandas, as we have already learned that Python can use scalar values, Python dictionary values and dimensional values. All these two examples, that is Python series 1, example from Python series 1 and Python series 2, are example of scalar values. Okay, so this is an example of dictionary values, like the key value pair. Okay, so Vivek is a student who got 40, Mohit got 50, Appu got 60 and Pranjit got 45. So this way I have stored the values with the corresponding keys. So in this example, we need not to pass, or in this logic we need not to pass the index values, as by default the keys get stored as the index values. So as soon as I execute the code, you will understand that the marks of the students are being stored with their corresponding index values. So you can see Vivek got 40, Mohit got 50, Appu got 60 and Pranjit got 45. So this is an example from Pandas series 3. I hope this is clear, so we can proceed further. The next example that I will go is for n-dimensional array. Like in the series 4, you can see I have imported pandas, and in this section I have used the concept of list, and I have created two-dimensional array in the format of row and columns. So this is my first block and this is my second block. So this is being stored in the format of rows and columns. So as soon as I pass this parameter in the as a data, as soon as I pass this parameter as a data in the series 4, it gets printed and it shows something like this. So this is the index 0 and this is index 1, but it is stored in the format of rows and columns. Like it is grouping the entire list and it gets printed in the first row, and it groups the entire list and it stores the or it prints the data in the second row, as we can see. So this is how we can store n-dimensional array in pandas. So this was all about the Python pandas series. I hope this is clear. In the next video we will learn about Python pandas data frame. Thank you.